Yo Gotti might be next, cause word on the street is the feds are quietly lining up an indictment against him for the murder of young Dolph. The biggest clue is coming straight out of the courtroom, where Hernandez Govan's trial is about to shake the game up. Some believe Govan already cooperated, possibly pointing fingers at Yo Gotti and his brother Big Jook, who, conveniently, ended up dead not long after those rumors started. So was Big Jook silenced to save Yo Gotti? Cause let's be real, everything was going too perfect for Gotti to risk going down. He had his dream girl, Angela Simmons, CMG was winning, and his artists were on top. He wasn't trying to lose it all over an old beef, so did he make a move to clean up the loose ends? Let's talk about that upcoming trial. After getting pushed back more times than a mixtape that ain't ready, Govan's trial is now officially set to begin on August 18th, 2025, just days away. He's not just some small-time suspect either. He's facing first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and even attempted murder for masterminding the hit on Dolph back in 2021. Now, it gets weird when you find out that the entire case is partially sealed. On July 29th, the presiding judge, Jennifer Mitchell, locked the motions and rulings behind closed doors. No public access, just silence. And no one's explained why. That's not normal, especially in a high-profile murder case tied to one of the most beloved rappers out of Memphis. When courtrooms go quiet like that, it usually means deals are being made or names are being protected. But here's the part that really got the streets talking. Govan is out on bond, just walking around, chilling, on a $90,000 bond, even after violating it. The man behind a high-level murder plot is the only one out of all the co-defendants who's been granted bond and reinstated after breaking the rules. Meanwhile, cats like Justin Johnson and Cornelius Smith are still sitting in jail, fighting for crumbs. See, people close to the case believe this ain't just about legal strategy. This might be a sign that Govan already gave the feds what they needed, that he cooperated, maybe even dropped names like Big Jook or Yo Gotti. And when you consider the timing, sealed documents, reinstated bond, and a trial about to begin with the key witness walking free, that's not just unusual, that's strategic. This trial is about to reopen the Dolph case in a way we haven't seen since 2021. And if Yo Gotti's name gets dropped inside that courtroom, this could be the biggest fall in Memphis rap history. Now here's where things really start pointing in one direction, and that's straight at Yo Gotti. People aren't just guessing. Prosecutors in the young Dolph murder case have openly said that Big Jook put up $100,000 to make Dolph disappear. According to court documents and street chatter, Hernandez Govan was the middleman, the one who connected the killers to the cash and the target. In other words, Govan played chess while Big Jook moved the pieces, and CMG might have been the board the whole time. So when the hit went down in 2021 and those two suspects pulled the trigger, they were reportedly expecting $100K. But here's the twist. They only got $800 to $1,500 each, and it came from Jook, not Gotti directly. That one detail has everybody asking, was this a CMG-financed hit or did Jook act on his own? Because if the money trail points back to CMG, even through Jook, then Yo Gotti's entire empire is suddenly standing in federal crosshairs. This ain't about rap beef anymore. It's an organized conspiracy, and it gets darker. Big Jook was murdered in January 2024, less than a year before Govan's trial, and the timing is sketchy. Govan had already been arrested. Whispers were growing that he might flip, and then Jook gets taken out. Some say it was retaliation, Dolph's guys getting revenge. Others think it was a cleanup job, someone taking Jook off the board before he could be used as evidence against bigger names. And when you put that together with the fact that Govan's trial is sealed and that he's out on bond, that Yo Gotti hasn't said a word about Jook's death, the silence starts sounding a lot like strategy. Yo Gotti's been playing it cool in public. The awards, the deals, the Angela Simmons relationship. But behind the scenes is a growing belief that he's been tightening up CMG, bracing for something big, because if Govan starts calling out names in court, the next logical target is none other than Yo Gotti. But the reason Gotti's name keeps coming up isn't just because of what might happen in court in a few days. It's because the one man who might have taken the fall for him is already dead. Jook wasn't just Yo Gotti's brother, he was his money man, his logistic handler, and most importantly, the link between CMG and the actual hitmen who took out Dolph. Jook's death hit Memphis like a silent explosion. No suspects, no arrests, just a high-ranking street figure gunned down outside a restaurant, hours after burying a relative. But anyone paying attention knew this wasn't random. This was personal, targeted, and clean. He was shot down after attending a family funeral in a setting quiet enough to make a hit seem effortless. Whether or not Jook was flipping, people started thinking he could, and that was enough to get him marked. What really fuels the speculation is how quiet Yo Gotti was in the aftermath. That silence said more than a press release ever could. If Jook had been acting on his own, if this had been unrelated, you'd expect Gotti to speak, but he didn't. So now people are asking if this was a cover-up, not just some street revenge, but a last-ditch effort to keep Gotti protected. With federal eyes on everything and the Dolph case opening back up, it's not a stretch to think removing Jook bought Gotti a little more distance and a chance to get his legal game right. Losing Jook, however, was just the beginning. His love life started to suffer too shortly after he lost his brother. Angela Simmons didn't slam the door. She just walked away, quiet, respectful, and on her own terms. She pulled up to Angie Martinez's show, and she told us this.
Angela Simmons, are you telling me right now you're in your single girl era again?
Yeah, I'm telling you that.
Just weeks before Hernandez Govan's trial was finally set to begin, Angela confirmed that she and Gotti were officially done. No drama, just a soft-spoken breakup with phrases like, all love, and it was my choice. But anybody paying attention could feel the tension underneath that statement. Her explanation about being in a growing and healing season, combined with the fact that her exit came right before one of the biggest legal moments in Yo Gotti's career, said more than any headline ever could. And while some blamed Gotti's packed schedule or closeness with Glorilla, others saw something else brewing. Legal heat. The kind that makes public figures start calculating who they stand next to and what it might cost. Angela knows the game, and the last thing she can afford is to be linked to a federal indictment, especially one tied to a high-profile murder case and an ongoing criminal investigation. If things go left for Gotti, the headlines won't just hit him, they'll splash onto anyone in the frame with him. Her decision to leave when she did doesn't feel like coincidence, more like strategy, a way to quietly step out of the blast zone before anything explodes. And now that Angela's out of the picture, he's more alone than ever. No brother, no ride or die, just pressure, heat, and a trial creeping closer. But Angela ain't the only person around Gotti who went missing. Black Youngsta did too. You don't need a headline to know something's off. All you gotta do is scroll through Black Youngsta's Instagram. The same man who used to go viral for flexing stacks, trolling rivals, and turning every post into a movie has gone dead silent. For someone who built a whole persona around being loud and wanting to take out Dolph, this sudden quiet isn't just strange, it's unsettling. In 2025, Youngsta's presence has nearly vanished, and fans are starting to notice. Industry insiders are noticing too. Some say he's just laying low on purpose, maybe under orders from Gotti himself, trying not to draw more heat while the Govan trial inches closer. Others think it's deeper than that. There's even talk that he might already be under legal restrictions, or worse, already in custody. And it's not just him. CMG as a whole feels different. The label's tone has shifted. Gotti's name isn't being shouted out like before. The branding is cleaner, more neutral. There's a sense that the entire team is moving quiet on purpose, like they know a storm is coming and they don't want to get caught in the flood. Youngsta's silence is especially loud considering his history with Dolph. These two had tension, disrespect, and direct shots thrown back and forth. If anybody had something to say, it would have been him. Whether it's loyalty, fear, or legal strategy, no one knows for sure. But the timing lines up with everything else that's happening. The moves being made around CMG don't look random anymore. They look like part of a pattern. If you've been paying attention to how the feds build cases, you already know how this game goes. They start at the bottom and they work their way up. It's textbook. First, they go after the shooters, then the middlemen, then the money guys, and finally, when the structure's exposed and the loyalty's cracked, they move on the boss. Right now, Gotti's starting to look like the end target. We've already seen how it's playing out. Justin Johnson and Cornelia Smith, one of them flipped, gave up key details about promised money and who gave the orders. That's federal leverage of the sort that turns a life sentence into a bargaining chip. Now the focus is on Hernandez Govan. If he's cooperating, then the feds are looking at who funded, planned, and and signed off the hit on Dolph. If Govan turned over text messages, Cash App receipts, or anything linking payments back to CMG leadership, that's RICO material. Once they can show that a hit was organized, financed, and carried out through a structured crew, it turns the whole operation into a criminal enterprise. The pressure is real and it's rising fast. But all of this Gotti and CMG mess ties back to the murder of Dolph, who gunned down in broad daylight at Makita's homemade butter cookies in 2021. What started as a tragedy is now unraveling into what looks like a carefully structured criminal operation, one that's getting picked apart piece by piece. If prosecutors can connect those dots, this stops being a local murder case and turns into a RICO case, targeting a structured criminal operation, from shooters all the way up to executives. And if that happens, Yo Gotti's name doesn't just come up, it gets written in bold. That indictment would rock the Memphis rap scene to its core. There's no indictment yet, but the behavior around Gotti is already matching the pattern of someone preparing for one. Gotti isn't just being quiet on social media, he's making himself invisible. This is the same dude who once prided himself on being the face of Memphis, from red carpets to Rolling Loud, is now reduced to shadows. And that kind of pullback only happens when there's legal moves involved. Gotti's inner circle is already collapsing. Jook was executed in the open just as whispers of cooperation were picking up. Black Youngsta vanished without explanation, and Angela left Gotti just weeks before Govan's trial date was announced. These exits look like fallout. Here's what makes this dangerous for Gotti. Cornelius Smith already testified that Big Jook promised $100,000 to take out Dolph. Govan is said to have acted as the go-between, but the promised money was never fully paid. This is where it gets critical, because broken promises lead to broken silence. Govan is the only person in the case who isn't locked up or dead. That alone suggests one thing: he gave them something valuable. In a murder-for-hire scenario, it doesn't matter who pulled the trigger. The law is written so that anyone who funded, planned, or knowingly enabled the hit can be charged with the same weight. If Govan turned over phone logs or showed where CMG funds were moved in connection to the murder, that's all it takes. The reason this trial is so critical is because it's not just about what happens in court, it's what happens in the sealed filings, behind the curtain. Prosecutors don't seal cases to protect the guilty, they seal them to protect evidence that's still in use. And right now, the fact that Govan's pretrial filings are hidden from the public suggests that someone else is being investigated. And here's something else that matters: RICO. Federal prosecutors have been building RICO cases against music crews for years, from Death Row to BMF to YSL. What starts as a single murder often gets spun into an entire criminal enterprise, and CMG fits the profile. A label with business structures, documented conflicts, internal money movement, and direct ties to violent incidents. The Dolph murder isn't just a rap beef gone wrong. It's being treated as a contract with organized structure. That's exactly what opens the door for a RICO prosecution. And in that scenario, Gotti doesn't have to pull a trigger or send a text. He just needs to be shown as the one who had knowledge of the plan and allowed the network to carry it out. If Gotti goes down, it won't just be a fall from grace. It will be the collapse of one of the most powerful camps in Southern hip-hop, and it's already in motion.